Today I'm cooking up another recipe from Joanna Gaines' Magnolia table.
Hi, I'm Nikki Kirk, an RV traveling, Amazon selling bikini blogger. Welcome to my RV kitchen.
For this episode, I'm gonna make JoJo's biscuits. But I'm not just gonna stop at the biscuits, I'm gonna make biscuits two ways. I'm gonna do the canned strawberry jam tonight because it has to sit for 24 hours, and then tomorrow I'm gonna come back and make the biscuits and gravy. Let's get started with the jam. You can actually can in an Instant Pot. Since it's just jam and it just takes a water bath canning, I'm gonna steam it. Steam canning. This is not the first time I've made it. This is actually the second time. If you remember in episode 1, I mentioned how I lost some episodes on a hard drive. This was one of the episodes. I'm remaking it, and honestly the canning part of it is the reason I've been dreading it, just because it's such a long process, but the jam is so good, it's worth it. It does call for 7 cups of sugar, and I don't think I did it all last time, and I'm definitely not doing 7 cups this time because that's a lot of sugar. So I'm just probably gonna do 4 or 5. We'll see how it goes. I totally am wasting a bowl. I could just throw them in the food processor. So this week we are out in Texas on a really awesome farm. It's a timber farm, so it's a lot of trees. It's part of Boondockers Welcome, so you can just come stay at people's property who they will host you for a night or two. So that's what we're doing. But it's hot out here, so I'm turning the AC on and off as I go. Hopefully booby magic, you'll never hear it. It's a pretty straightforward recipe. 5 cups of strawberries, 7 cups of sugar, and 1 pack of pectin. I'm gonna try and make it chunky jam because that's what I like. We'll see if it works out. I just can't over process it. I'm gonna finish chopping these up, turn the AC on so I can cool down a little, and I'll meet you at the food processor. This is why I was saying I probably could have just chopped them and thrown them in here, but whatever, too late. We've got the strawberries pureed, so I'm gonna go ahead and boil them with the sugar, butter, and pectin. Now we gotta stir in the pectin. Stir in the 1 tablespoon of butter. Since this is the size of saucepan I have, I'm just going to keep adding sugar until it gets really full. Oh. It's going to come to a rolling boil, and then I'm going to go ahead and can it. Here's the tips I learned about canning from Frida's YouTube channel using the Instant Pot. First of all, you use this part, not this part. This is the handles. Right? So you put a penny in the bottom of the pot so that way you can hear it when it's boiling. It'll start to like wiggle up and down. The Instant Pot has the trivet inside of it, so you fill it to the level. And then I'm just gonna fill the jars. I have them in the sink right now. They have boiling water in them, so it's a hot jar with hot food so that nothing cracks. And I'm gonna go ahead and fill them up now, and then I'm gonna have to do it in 2 batches, so it makes a lot of jam. And the Instant Pot only fits so much. I do not have a funnel, so this should be interesting. I'm just using a measuring spoon. I'm going to fill the rest of these, and then we'll throw them in the pot. Maybe not throw them. I'll probably set them in. It actually makes more than I have jars for. So the reason you can it is just so that it will last longer. So this I'm going to just put in the fridge. I didn't leave room in all of them, so some are filled less than others. So I got to leave a little bit of room. So I'm going to pour some out. So you want them to be fingertip tight. So you just turn until it is tight. You give a little turn, and that's it. Got it in the Instant Pot, and I'm gonna set it to venting, not sealing. So the little pressure valve back here, once that it goes up, then I start the time for the steaming, which is 10 minutes. So the pot is sealed and it is steaming. I went back to watch Frida's episode just to double check, and I was supposed to actually start counting 10 minutes from when the seal went up, and I don't know when that was. I'm gonna say another 5 minutes. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see how it turns out. Good morning and welcome back. The biscuits are actually kind of easy, and this is my 3rd time technically making them. And I learned the first time that it makes a lot, and there's just 2 of us, so we don't need that many. So what I'm gonna do is actually freeze half of them. Let's get started. This biscuit recipe is actually all over the internet, so I'm going to go ahead and link it below so you can make them at home too. We're starting with 4 cups of self-rising flour. This is a perfect amount to do later for the flour of the board. Ah! This is just for prop. Let me tell you what I learned from making this 2 other times. This is 3 sticks of butter, and you see how they're thinly chopped? So I got this biscuit cutter for the recipe, and the first time I did it, I don't think I even chopped them up near, like maybe in half or in quarters. It was really hard and they were really, really cold. It was exhausting trying to cut them. So then the second time I did it, I cut them even smaller, but it wasn't small enough. And now the third time, they are really small. It's not as cold because it's hot out here in Texas, so they're kind of already melty, which is great. If I had a box shredder, I would totally shred this. It says until it's the size of peas. Already so much bigger. I feel like if you grated it, you could just pour it in and stir it up. It would already be the size of peas. I also got new bowls since the last episodes. Costco had this stacking set that looked pretty light, and now it had lids and nice, so I had to get them. And it's very handy. It has a little lip here to hold on to. I'm pretty sure those bowls in the first episode I've had since college. Not really pea size, but they're definitely getting smaller. Okay, so now we're gonna add the eggs to this. Beat 2 eggs. It says stir with a wooden spoon, so I'll just pour this in and stir until combined. Now 1.5 cups of buttermilk. I was doing math in the store to see which one to buy, so I bought 1 pint, which I think is 2 cups, which is perfect. So if it's too dry, I'll have more. So now I stir this until a sticky mess. It's looking pretty sticky. Not nearly as hard as that coffee cake was. I like when the cookbook has photos, but then I also don't like it because mine usually never looks like that. It's forming more into a ball now. So now it's gonna chill in the fridge for 30 minutes. And then after I roll these out and get them in the oven, I'll start on the Babos, I don't know how you say it, classic gravy. Came with lids, perfect. I'll see you back in about 30 minutes. It's been about an hour, so I got the biscuit dough out, and let's roll it out. So I'm gonna roll it out to a 1/2 inch thickness and then cut it. Since I'm gonna freeze some of them, I'm just gonna probably fill this pan and then freeze whatever doesn't fit. I'm gonna need more flour. It's sticky. I'm glad I grabbed the flour. Looks about a 1/2 inch. It is very fitting that I should be making these while I'm in Texas again, because the whole reason I'm cooking my way through this cookbook is because Fixer Upper inspired this whole RV trip. If you missed the first episode, I say this there, but I'll say it again, just in case you're new to the channel. So while watching Fixer Upper and seeing, you know, what's really out there in the rest of the country, what your money can really get you, because at the time we were living in Los Angeles, I'm from Oregon, just living in that like kind of small town vibe really reminded me of home. And it's like, I don't know if I necessarily want to be in Oregon, but I know California wasn't doing it for me. So we decided at some point someone had the idea that we could actually see the country in an RV. No one knows how it came about, but it came about. Of course, Waco was on the destination list that we had to go see and had to go to Magnolia, and it was amazing. And when the cookbook came out, I thought, Damon is always telling me that I need to make a cooking show in the RV, and I'm like, but I'm not a chef and I don't do that. So when the cookbook came out, I was like, oh, maybe that is a good idea. Maybe I'll try it. So here I am, episode 4, and I don't know. It's been fun. I've been enjoying it. So I've got 15 on the pan, which is really all that's gonna fit. I'm gonna throw those in the oven. This is what's awesome about these, and I did this before. You can freeze them and then just throw them in the oven like normal for 20 minutes, and then you have biscuits, fresh biscuits. I've got them all on the parchment lined baking sheet, and then right here I have a tablespoon of buttermilk and 1 egg beaten. I'm gonna brush the top of these and then throw them in the oven. I'm not totally touching, but that's good enough. I think maybe I rolled them out too thin. I'm not really sure, but it says it makes 20, and this is way more than 20. So I've got 30 biscuits altogether. I'm making 15 now. I'm gonna put 15 in the freezer. The biscuits are done, so I'm going to take them out to cool while I do the gravy. Oh, how can I do this with one hand? I don't know about you, but I had never had biscuits and gravy before. Maybe if they had a really good continental breakfast where they had biscuits and gravy, but it's always like mushy and gooey and gross. But I had to try it because it's in Joanna's book, so you know it's gonna be good, right? So I'm gonna get down to it. I'm gonna grill up the Jimmy Deans and then make the gravy with the grease. This is a really good recipe. Lots of fat and butter. So if you've never had them before, these are delicious. So it turns out that sugar in jam actually helps it solidify. So this morning when I checked my jam, it was kind of like liquidy, and so I stuck one in the fridge to see if it'll help it. I did end up doing 4 cups of sugar and it was 5 cups of berries, so it's supposed to be, I guess, 1 to 1. So if you have a pound of berries, you do a pound of sugar, which is so much sugar. Yeah, so maybe there was a reason. So we'll see if we're having liquidy jam or not. There are ways to fix it. I don't know that I care enough, but we'll see how it turns out. While those brown up, I'll get the flour out. So we're gonna do 1/3 of a cup of flour and 4 cups of milk. These are done, so I'm gonna go ahead and set them out and start with the gravy. They look good. 4 cups of milk. I'm gonna add a little more flour. So while that goes ahead and thickens up, I'm gonna go ahead and chop up the sausage. So it's thickened up. I'm gonna add the sausage, salt and pepper it, and then I'm gonna grab Damien, the jam, and we're gonna give this thing a taste. Oh, all right, let me grab the jam and we'll try this biscuits 2 ways. So I'm gonna check out the jam, which may or may not have set up. Whoops. Well, the canning worked, it's sealed. It's a little liquidy, you probably should have done a little more sugar. Oh well. All right, Damien, are you ready to try this?
That's right, it's the best time of the show. Bringing in the eye candy. What are we trying first?
Pick whatever you want.
That's dessert then, right? It's jelly. Sure. I feel like we've had these once before someone ruined your hard drive.
Oh, like deja vu?
Deja vu.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think they're better.
It's good.
Oh, I forgot how salty they are.
Is that good?
Yeah, I think so. She likes her salt. If I recall, the sausage are like frozen, Jimmy Dean or something, right? I was surprised that was part of her recipe.
Because she does everything really easy, which I appreciate. Okay, I'm gonna do the jam. They're a little thin because I guess I didn't cut them thick enough. Oh yeah. The jam's probably my favorite.
Oh, it's on the floor now too.
What, mine? It's a lot of work, but it was worth it.
Well, that is good.
I was gonna do it again. I wouldn't do it in the Texas 90-degree summer heat because it's hot and I'm dripping. And so I'll go ahead and close this out. Thank you for joining me. Biscuits 2 ways. I like them both. I can't say which one's better.
And I'm not just here to represent my clothing line, Rootless, at rootlessclothing.com. I'm also here to say, don't forget to like, sub, comment, and if you guys are making any of these recipes yourself, make sure to let Nikki know. But yes, don't cook in Texas 90-degree heat in an RV. Can I have more?
Yeah. Bye.
Let it run for a little while. Like you're giving me more.
Like I'm giving you more?